Hey, everybody. We are super pumped to be here for PaizoCon 2025. We're the team from Demiplane, and we're going to have an exciting time talking about some of the new things that we have going on today. So before we do introductions, let's get our presentation started. Rue, can we go to this the deck, the three of us with the deck?
Oh, we may have a little technical. There we go.
We're rolling in.
It's coming together. Oh.
Moving quick. Excellent. So today we got some fun things for everybody. First, we want to talk a little bit about Demiplane and the new family that we joined back in June with Roll20 and Drive-Thru-RPG. First and foremost, when we came together with Roll20 and Drive-Thru-RPG, we realized there's a huge opportunity for everyone, which is connected adventures anywhere. There's really never been a greater void between playing in the virtual world and playing in person. And so for us, we thought building that bridge was really important. Between the three businesses that you see here today, we're able to help people do any number of things in the Paizo universe. Whether you're getting super deep on creating characters, trying to connect people online because you can't play in person, or even exploring some of the worlds that exist in the written books, novellas, fantasy novels, all of those things that are available on Pathfinder and Starfinder Nexus. It's a ton of fun. If you haven't checked it out, we have a whole wide web of opportunities for you to get in. And we're going to talk about some of those today, but we're going to focus primarily on Pathfinder and Starfinder Nexus. So first, to do a couple introductions, we'll start with Dom, with you. We'll start with you.
Hey, I'm Dom Kelly. I'm principal game builder here at Demiplane, and what that means is basically I work on all of our sheets. So I've had a ton of fun building out and continuing to build out the Pathfinder character sheet and Starfinder character sheets, which is probably my favorite game system of all time. I'm not just saying that because I'm on Paizo stream right now. It genuinely is my favorite game system.
Excellent. Melly, go ahead.
Hi, I'm Melly, and I am the head of game content for both Demiplane and for Roll20. And here's my little cred is my favorite class is the Witch, and I loved it even before the remaster, but the remaster made it pretty darn amazing.
Awesome. Everybody, my name's Peter. I'm the Demiplane lead, and the first Paizo game I ever played was at Gen Con. It was a Starfinder 1E game, and now we have Starfinder 2E coming at this Gen Con. I'm super pumped. Can't wait. Get to go full circle in some ways. And so I'm really excited to talk to everybody here today. All right, let's get started. Today I mentioned we're going to talk primarily about Pathfinder and Starfinder Nexus. Pathfinder and Starfinder Nexus are two platforms available on Demiplane. They're ready whenever and wherever you are. We have a whole boatload of content for both of these games. You can explore for free, log in, pathfinder.com, pathfindernexus.com, or starfindernexus.com. All the content that's available for sale will be able to, you'll be able to receive the benefit for Paizo Connect. And then also right now we have a 30% off sale. So if some of the things that you see are interesting for today, or you've been holding off for a sale, now is the time to do it. You can use promo code PaizoCon30 on Demiplane, but then also on Roll20 and Drive-Thru-RPG, we also have 30% off. So all the community content available for Pathfinder Infinite, all the short stories, books, and novels we were talking about before are available. Also, the virtual tabletop content's available for sale too. So really excited. Today, we're going to talk about these two areas, and we have a couple of topics to cover. First, we're going to talk about the content improvements that we've been working on there. Then we're going to talk about all the changes we've made in the character builder, basically the character builder and the character sheet for the past 12 months. We then have a super secret PaizoCon preview that we're absolutely swearing everyone in here not to talk about. We've never shared it before, and we have it. We're going to see how it works out. I think it's going to work okay. Then we're going to also introduce Demiplane campaigns where we open up for any questions and answers. So with that, Melly, I'm going to turn it over to you, and we can start talking about content and the work that we've been doing over the past year on the library.
Yeah, we sure can. At the base of every Nexus is the experience of the digital books, and we continue to build on top of that. And so, of course, when we talk about what we're doing for Pathfinder and Starfinder Nexus, we start with those digital books, and that's what my team works with. We get the files from our wonderful friends at Paizo, and we turn those files into their component parts, and then turn those component parts into the digital experience. One of the things that I really wanted to talk about today is how we've been looking at the big Pathfinder 2e and Starfinder 2e libraries as they have existed and as they continue to grow, because we all know that there's more content all the time, which is what we love. There's so many options for play, for creation, for everything. And so I put this together. We have a graph showing on screen here, which is showing what we launched with. So when we initially launched, Pathfinder Nexus was the very first Nexus that was available on Demiplane.
Yep.
It's what we started with. And that's, again, it's one of the reasons why Paizo, our partnership here, Pathfinder, the games you all play with us are so important to us, because this is where we started. Demiplane launch, we had some core rule books, we had some of the top Lost Omens titles, and we had some adventures we could get playing. And as we continued along, that meant that we had a big backlog because we came in a bit later into second edition's lifespan. So we had this big backlog of various bits of content, lots of adventures that we needed to get into the system. And we also had every month new content coming out. And a big thing that we really wanted to achieve was to have all of that new content happen on what we call day and date. So the day that Paizo releases that content to the wild is the same day that we want to have that up on Demiplane, so that it's immediately available to you if you choose to get it from our platform. So you can see here by this chart that we've done a really good job of that. You can see that that release date number, that bar there, is so much bigger than the rest of what we've got there on screen. But what I really want to talk about is all of the work that we've done on our backlog. If we go to the next slide, you can see our backlog has gone down very far. We just have a little bit left. And then we're caught up. Specifically, Quest for the Frozen Flame is the last little piece there, and we're going to be getting that out this year. So I'm really excited. That means that we just get to look forward and getting all of that new content available, like I said, day one. But you might also be wondering, if you're not familiar with Demiplane, is what that even means, having that content available day one. So let's go ahead and go to the next slide, and I can talk a little bit about that. So what comes with your book content? First off, the images at the top here I want to talk about, because on the left is one of the very first books we ever did, which is the core rule book original recipe. And then on the right, we have Lost Omens Rival Academies, which is a much more recent book. And in the middle there, we have Galaxy Guide for Starfinder. And just looking at those, you can really see how we've continued to grow in just even the experience of what you're getting with your digital book. So we've added new features, new tools that we use internally. For example, you can see on the right-hand side that wonderful character portrait there with a subtitle that is directly on top of it, but is still free text. You can read it with a screen reader, as well as the text wrapping around the image. That was an internal tool that we built to basically treat our web pages almost like you could treat an InDesign or an Affinity file, where you can actually create it almost like you're creating a print book. We've also, of course, added more decorative pieces, pulling those beautiful page designs out of the Pathfinder books and the Starfinder books. It's one of the things I've wanted for a long time, because I was like, how do we utilize these pieces, because they're gorgeous. And we've always been looking at ways that we can bring more of the beautiful art direction and design aesthetic of these games into the digital versions. You can really see as we've continued forward that that's been happening. And then brand new for Galaxy Guide, we have a new feature which allows us to pull those beautiful chapter splash images and get them right there at the top of the page at full size. That's a brand new feature that we did, and it first showed up in Galaxy Guide, but we're going to be using it in more places where you can really get those incredible pieces. Because again, shout out to Paizo's art directors and everybody who contributes art to these books. They are out of this world good. So we get to highlight all of that. But outside of just the look and feel, which of course we do try to bring the book to life in a digital format, you also get a lot of features, some of which have been there since day one and other ones that we've been adding as we've continued to grow. So you get an in-book table of contents, which makes it easy to jump around. You get books, links inside the book to other places inside that same book. So if you're running an adventure and it directs you to area A3, you can click a link and immediately go to area A3. We've got cross-book links. So if there's a mention of Monster Core while you're reading, you can go ahead and open that up and immediately go to the section that it's referring to. And even better than all of that, we have tooltips, which allow you to immediately see, just on a hover over, a quick bit of information about what the thing is that we've tooltipped there. Could be a monster, could be a rule, spell, feat, background. We can tooltip just about anything, or you can click on it and it'll open in a drawer so you don't leave the place where you are on the page. And this is one of the most powerful tools for a GM running an adventure out of these books, is that you can easily get to all of that information. In addition to that, though, I will call out my team member Sam Vondrum, who works with our image prep team to get maps and do as many versions of them as we can. can. So we take out secrets, we take out secret doors, we take out grids, and make those available to you as you go through the book. You can just open those maps up and save them to bring into any digital other program that you might want to use it in. And of course, every book that you purchase, every character option that exists in there, we're getting into our character toolset as well. In addition to that, you also get mobile responsive, which means that you can use this on a laptop, your tablet, your phone. I have definitely read books while I am in line at the store because I need more time to read all of these books. So I just do it anywhere, which is really convenient. These are built to work on any device at any size. And you also, of course, Paizo Connect. We love Paizo Connect. We love our friends at Paizo for offering this. We think it's fantastic. And so if you get the product on Demiplane, you'll also get the PDF from Paizo, as well as if you already have the product on your Paizo account, you can get a deep discount. So all you're paying for is the Demiplane version of that. So you're just getting the work we did. And where applicable, because we've now merged with Roll20, you're also going to be getting a complete Roll20 edition if one's available, a VTT companion if one's available, which is all of the adventure pieces you need to run something in the VTT. And again, going back to how amazing the art is in these books, we've been doing art and token packs, which allow you to take things like rival academies and take all of those pieces of art with you into your VTT experience. So lots of things come with that content. And of course, that's just one piece of it, because you might also be wondering, yeah, that's really cool, but what do I get for free? Which is a very valid question because we all love things for free. And so if we go to the next slide here, we can talk about listings. And some of you have discovered this, but some people still don't know that Demiplane listings are free. So if you go to demiplane.com and you go to the Pathfinder Nexus, and you go into the listings, you go to check out an animal companion or a class, or maybe a new faction in Starfinder, you can access that content outside of the book for free. So if you just want to see this information, if you want to search for it, if you want to use the filters to find what you're looking for, you can get it. And like we said, our goal is to have all of these books out day and date with Paizo, which means that you're going to be able to get it information here for free first when you go and visit Pathfinder Nexus when a new book launches. We've also been adding to this throughout our entire span of having Pathfinder Nexus available, and we're continuing to add more. So originally we had spells, items, feats, creatures, backgrounds, classes, ancestries, archetypes, and heritages, and we've continued to expand that. We now have a big rules listing where anything really that as we're going through a book we think might be handy for you to be able to just see if you look it up really quickly. We've been breaking those all out. We've got trait listing, which is super great as well. And coming soon, we're going to have settlements and factions, which you can preview on Starfinder Nexus right now because the Galaxy Guide has them in there. And we're also going to be introducing creature abilities and hazards to make your GM's job even easier because you can easily find exactly what you're looking for. And we're going to continue to expand this. But again, these listings are available for free, so you can always access them at any time. You go to PathfinderNexus.com or StarfinderNexus.com. And then if you buy the book, you're going to get the reading experience of having the book, having all the art and all of the other information that comes inside of the book and isn't in the listings, as well as everything that gets built into the rest of the tools on Demiplane. And I guess I'll pass it off to you all then to talk about what those other tools are.
Great. Awesome. Thanks, Melly. Before we hand it off, I have a critical question. And I know that the real answer is you love all of the books equally. And or the last book is the book that you love the most, but you've seen every Paizo title that's gone through since you've been working with us here on Pathfinder Nexus. So if you had to pick like top two sources that you've worked on, what would your top two titles be?
My top one is Howl of the Wild. I absolutely love this book. I love how it's presented. I love all the options in it. I think pretty much every character that I've made in the last 6 months has used at least one option from that book. So I love it. It's also the first book that we had a bunch of new features from Dom in the stuff we could do with the data, and it was very fun to work on. And then my second, it's either to be the new Shades of Blood Adventure Path because of how it looks in Demiplane, the design aesthetic of that whole book and every piece of art. I love it, and I love how we brought it to life. Or it's going to be the Chanja character guide because the options in that book are out of this world cool and fun.
Really cool.
And I just remember as I was reading through it, we were doing late night QAs on it, that I was just blown away every time I discovered something new, some new little nugget that just led me on a path of adventure.
Awesome. All right, Dom, that's going to be your question after you're done. So just so you know, I'm planting it now. Awesome. All right, well, let's dive in. So we just talked through the content and the work that we've been doing over the past year. I now want to dive in and talk about the character builder and the sheets that have been going on. How this works on Pathfinder and Starfinder Nexus is when you unlock content, either at the full price where you get the PDF from Paizo, and then also all the unlocks we'll be talking about here. If you already own that PDF and you make a purchase on Pathfinder Nexus or Starfinder Nexus, it'll be at a reduced price through Paizo Connect, and then you'll also get all the benefits that you're seeing here. We're regularly providing upgrades to these things. We just talked a little bit about how we're upgrading the library. Now we're going to talk a little bit about the character tools and some of the new features coming later this year. So that, Dom, why don't we get started, talk about the new variant rule support and the content options we have now that we've got Starfinder and Pathfinder working together across their nexuses.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so there's been a lot of really cool, really fun updates that we put out over the last year. A big one was with the launch of the Starfinder playtest, adding cross-compatibility between both Pathfinder and Starfinder, as well as books have released new variant rules, a host of those options being added here into our builder. And so with that, we added some more deeper, fully fleshed support for a number of those rules, things like automatic bonus progression, gradual ability boost, things like that. And you can see that they are here in the screenshot that Peter pulled. You can we tooltip those, so you can just hover over them. You can quickly see what they are, what they do. Like Melly mentioned, you can click on that. You can open the drawer. You can click to open a new tab with more details. So a lot of really cool, fun stuff that we add. And you know, I love as a GM, I love using free archetype. I think that's a really common one that people like to use. I certainly love to use it. I love to use it as a player. So I think if I use it as a GM, then maybe my GMs would be more likely to let me use it. And you can see in here as well, like I mentioned, in either the Pathfinder or the Starfinder builder, because behind the scenes they're driven by the exact same engine, we decided to drive them from the same engine as well on our side. So you can just turn on allow Pathfinder content in Starfinder and vice versa, and then you just get all of that content. And so you can see the classes when you're building your character. You could choose a soldier if you're playing in a Pathfinder game. You could choose a barbarian if you're playing in a Starfinder game. You can get items and feats and spells and all of that good stuff. And you can pull those into your games. So a lot of really cool, fun stuff that you can do there. And we are, outside of the builder, in the sheet, constantly upgrading the experience. A number of things that we've added over the last year. One of my favorites that I added was the alchemy support. I love playing an alchemist. I love playing someone who tinkers with things. So that's one of my characters that I like playing a lot. And getting fuller support for alchemy in was something that I've wanted to do for a while. And so we were able to get some time and do that. And track, your daily reagents you have, your temporary items that you create at the beginning of the day. Really easy to spin those up, really easy to reset that stuff. So it's just a smoother experience overall. Along with that, because they're very much in a similar vein, we added crafting support in as well. So you can start crafting projects. You can incrementally work on the project. So you don't have to, just as your character might not create your +2 flaming longsword in one day, you can start the project and put time towards it and keep that tracked through a number of sessions, just as your character has time, as you have time in game to spend a couple of downtime days and finish that project. And so as the project continues on, we'll keep track of the gold that you spend and all that, and then at the end of it, you can complete it and it'll add the item to your sheet. Next one, it looks like we have here companion and familiar sports. This is another one that obviously companions and familiars are, well, yeah, there you go, Melly, your witch.
Yes, my witch is very happy that day.
Yep.
I went back through all of my characters, which were 90% witches, and I just updated all of them when you put this in.
Yep. Yeah, so we have right in the builder flow, as you're building a character that gets a companion or a familiar, either through a class feature like the witch would, or through feats like a ranger might. We add steps into the builder so that you don't have to search for, okay, what do I need to do for my companion? The section's right there. You can just go to it, prompts you for the choices you need to make, and it's all as smooth as we hope that it can be. And then in the sheet, you have a new tab for your companion familiar, and you get their list of abilities, their skills, their health if you need to track that for your companion. and so on. So all of the things that you need to know about your companion are right there. And you can, for a familiar, you can swap out your familiar abilities easily every day. That support is just as up to date as we get new content with new familiars, new abilities, new companion types. That stuff just all flows into the sheet, and as you own the content, as you buy the content, that unlocks those new options. You can just start building with those right away. So again, at the day that these things come out, you get access to them immediately. Export to PDF and QR code sharing. That's one that we've had a lot of requests for, and so we were very, very excited to get that in. So now for all of your Pathfinder sheets and your Starfinder sheets, you can export that to PDF and print that right off. And it's a form fillable PDF, so as you export it, you can then go ahead and make additional changes if you need to, and print that off. And QR code sharing as well, so we can pop up a QR code, you can scan it on your phone and get a link directly to that character sheet.
Dom, I'll talk about share and edit permissions if you want to do feat filtering, and I'll come in at the end.
Yeah, go for it.
No, you first.
Oh, sure, okay. So advanced feat filtering. So this is one that we have kind of had an eye on for a long time. And Melly, I can see you're nodding your head, is very, very, very excited for this one in particular. And so what we've been able to do is finally get all of the requirements for all of the feats. So if, for example, I'm looking at my class feats, I can filter down to just see the feats that I've met the requirements for. Feats that don't have requirements, those will still show up, but any feats that, let's say, barbarian feat that requires you to be an animal instinct barbarian, and you aren't one, that feat won't show up. Now we have a quick toggle, so you can toggle on, you can see the feats that you're missing, and then you can take a look at those and see why you don't meet the requirements for the feat. But by default, we can filter those out, so it's just a much smoother experience. I can definitely say from personal experience building characters now, when I go to, my skill feats, if I'm making a level 11 character, there's so many skill feats, and it's such a fun part of the game. But then when I'm trying to choose a skill feat at level 11, there's so many skill feats. So being able to filter those down to just the ones that I meet, my skill recs for is pretty exciting.
And what's so interesting about that, I think some people would be like, well, I mean, why wasn't that there at first? Like, why did it take so long? And it's a much more complicated problem than I think folks might, wonder if it is. So I don't know if you might be able to say a little bit more about that, because it was definitely a complicated one that we've had our eye on, like you said, for a really long time.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's, we're, making sure that the data behind the scenes can support both what we want to do on our listing side, so you have that quick filtering capabilities that we do have and are very, very powerful, as well as using the same data to be able to drive these lists so that we can have updates to our data very quickly. The day the book's released, we can get those feats up here and get them in the listings, and just that drove quite a bit of the complication. But we were able to figure out some of the solution to that some of that had to do with making sure that we just grouped things appropriately and just presented you the most important feats. As I'm building out a character, if I'm looking at my level 8 feats, the most important feats are my level 8 class feats. And then, presenting that kind of in that stepped hierarchy of importance. Most likely those level 8 feats, they're the most powerful ones. They're probably the ones you want to look at, but then you can go down, okay, what are the level 6 ones? Maybe I don't like any of those. Maybe I had my eye on, that level 6 one that lets me, do X, Y, and Z. And so just that was a big kind of breakthrough for us in getting that in. So I'm very, very happy that this is in. I've been playing a kineticist in my current campaign, and kineticist again is one that has a lot of feats.
Yeah, tons of feats.
You have feats for all of your different elements, and so just having I'm doing air and earth, which has been a lot of fun. I've also gone down to 1 HP multiple times, which is less fun. But it's certainly not because of the way I built my character. Definitely not that.
Someone else's fault. Yeah, someone else's fault. Yeah.
I do have the most nat ones rolled in that game, though.
Yeah.
So I don't know how that happened.
I will say too, a little inside baseball, but it's kind of funny too, because the relationship between character creation and feat building is really funny. Where when we started building out Pathfinder Nexus, as Melly showed earlier, the content options were relatively low. And so we started building out those options. And as we were building them out, people were like, oh, I didn't even know that feed existed. Oh, I didn't even know that that was an option. And so it was this fun, like, oh, I'm surprised that there are these, options available to me. And then we started to hear a little bit of the, hey, this is kind of overwhelming. Like, can we, maybe find a way to handle this? And so we were sliding it up, and all of a sudden the remaster hits. So the remaster hits, and it's like, hey, we need to have kind of a toggle to allow for the prior world and the new world. So you start releasing the remaster, and it's, oh, that's so cool. Oh, they changed this name. Oh, that's so interesting. And then all of a sudden the content starts coming out. More and more of the content's coming out, and the pace is coming out. And pretty soon this concept of discovery is kind of pushed aside for this overburdening number of options that are available to you as you're gaining more levels and having more options.
Yeah.
And so
it's enough slices.
Yes. So, okay, we get it. There's a lot here. Please stop.
But when we can serve them in that way, suddenly then it becomes, again, the discovery comes back.
Absolutely. Yeah. So it's been great. It's been great. We're really excited about that one. It's just these funny things that you get excited about, when you work on the tech side of things. It's like, oh yeah, filter. This is so cool. We can do this way. And but yeah, we're excited. We're really pleased to have everybody that was pushing us to get here. It was a huge. It's always good to know very clearly what's coming up next. And so for us, some of the things that's what's coming up next. We quietly laid the foundation for an update that we're going to see here in a few minutes. But I wanted to talk about sharing and editing permissions. We've always had the ability to share characters. So you can go and share a character with someone, whether that's through QR code or a link. That will pop it open. They can save that character. If you wanted to create like a template or something, you can have that. We have pre-generated characters that we work with our publishers to create. Quick, easy ways to jump in. And so those you can share easily as well. What we added this year was the edit permissions. And so with edit permissions, you're basically able to type in someone's email address, and it will allow them to go in and edit that character. And so they can go in, if it's a game master, they can go and edit things. They can add equipment. They can add special boon or a feat or something that comes through your game. They can edit your abilities. Maybe they want to add, you get a bonus to your strength or something like this. Like they can add those types of things into your character sheet. And that also is the basis for a series of capabilities that allow you to play on the virtual tabletop. So right now you can go ahead and open this character sheets over on the Roll20 side. You can link your Demiplane characters. And that will work right there as well. And the same permissions, those were important for us to set foundations for how groups come together. So overall, that was a really exciting one for us. And the concept of being able to interact between a player and a game master was something that we felt was really important. It's been a major focus for us this year. Speaking of game masters, I think we have our next topic is something that I think game masters and people who are playing game masters are really going to be excited about. So Dom, I'm gonna let you start, and then I'm gonna see if I can get the video going after we do our little walkthrough here. But why don't I flip the page here and we can talk a little bit about Tree Raiser.
Yeah, so we have been working on the capability to be able to pull in NPCs, to pull in creatures as their own editable sheets. And so we've been really hard at work on this one, and this is a real screenshot. This isn't a fake. This isn't just a mock. This is a screenshot that I just took earlier today of Tree Raiser, who we did a vote, and this was the winner. The vote was a one-person vote. Peter was the only one who voted. So if you don't like Tree Raiser, blame Peter. But I don't think anyone doesn't like Tree Raiser. And so yes, this is a screenshot of the Tree Raiser NPC sheet, and all of the information from the creature gets pulled into here. You'll be able to edit any of this information. You can see there the tool-tipped elements, so you can hover over them and view more information. You can toggle on normal, elite, weak. Obviously, by default, you kind of have your normal power adjustment, but then the elite and weak toggles will make any of the appropriate updates, and of course, that cascades down to any of your roles. You can track your health, you can add conditions, you can add weaknesses, immunities, resistances, and all of that fun stuff. And this is something that we've been really hard at work on, and very, very excited to bring this in. Just as I was building it out, it's just really cool. It's really fun to play with, really cool to see it come together. And there's a lot of very, very cool stuff that we're gonna add into here, even beyond what we have here. So being able to, for example, have a button that just lets you trigger that regeneration on Tree Raiser to add the health back. Being able to roll damages that are pulled out of these ability blocks here. as well as if you want a more custom monster, being able to, or creature, being able to add abilities from other creatures and pull those into your sheet as well. I don't know if this is, are you able to play this video, Peter?
I'm trying right now. Let's see.
We can also all use our imagination. Imagine me clicking and scrolling around.
We're the right hobby for that.
And it behaves exactly how you expect.
Yeah, go ahead and
Oh,
everybody
awesome.
just roll. Sorry, let me secretly roll some perception checks here for everybody, see if they can see the video. Everybody let me know their modifiers would be great.
Let me see if I can get this going here.
I promise we do have an incredible video. I was so amazed. Dom shared this with us earlier today, and I was like, give it to me immediately. Thank you.
There we go. Let's see if this works. Let's see if we can switch. Can we switch the it's okay. Can we switch? I'm sharing another screen. If we can share that one, we'll just jump back then.
Yes, our wonderful, amazing, inimitable producer, Rue. See if we can get a swap.
See if it works.
I think, ooh.
There we go.
Might be cook. Yeah, there we go. We're cooking. We're cooking.
There we go.
There we go.
Excellent. So here we have all the traits, everything that you'd be used to seeing or trying to, go around and find for creatures everywhere on the Nexus. We now brought into each individual creature. So this is for Black Razor, but the intent over time is that this gets rolled out to every single creature, NPC. When we talk about hazards, we talk about different ways to interact with different encounters. All of these things are starting to get their own treatment. So we've been really pleased with how things have turned out with characters and are now looking at that next wave. So something that's been in the works for a while. We're really, really pleased with how it's turning out. This is just the start. So this is literally, this is the first group that's seen this work get brought to life. But we're basically allowing game masters and players, frankly, anyone that has access to this content to be able to open these sheets for their creatures or NPCs or hazards and start swinging away at their different party members, whether they're playing online or at the table. And so go ahead, sorry.
And as people could see in the video, when you got to the bottom of the stat block, you could see there's an add features button. And Dom talked about the elite and weak adjustments. So like all of these things are going to be customizable. You'll be able to really customize the creatures to your own experience. So if you want to take a creature that exists and you want to modify it and change, give it this feature and change its health and make it a weak version, you will be able to do that with just a few simple clicks, which is really, really exciting, I think, for Pathfinder GMs.
All right, well, if we can switch back. The next one here is me. It's our Demiplane campaigns. And so we've seen a great, really exciting thing that Dom was able to show and put together for everybody. Melly's team goes through and does all this work, try to get those creatures ready. Dom's team sets a structure, runs all that through. All of you get a chance to play it, whether you're on your phone, your tablet, your iPad. Some people play it on their fridge, in their kitchen, wherever it is that you're looking at the stuff on Pathfinder Nexus. You'll be able to dive in and you'll be able to open those sheets and use them. One of those places that we're actively working on right now, we're going to talk about today, is Demiplane campaigns. And so when we think about Demiplane campaigns, it fits a really important need that we've been hearing time and time again. And we think we're finally ready to set the foundation for what we're calling campaigns. Campaigns is your group where you are. Demiplane started as a way to connect people live. We actually started out trying to get people to match in person, and then COVID hit. And so we had to stop and say, holy cow, all these connections with people that we were going to work on to connect live, this has all become very, very complicated. And through those crazy, crazy years of complications, we found a really elegant way to bring people together by helping them learn the game. And now it's time that we're ready to go back and start looking at the groups. And so for us, we've been learning a ton about the way that folks are interacting on the virtual tabletop through our connection with Roll20. And now we're able to go through and find ways to bring a campaign together, whether you're playing in person or online on Demiplane. So the way that this works is that every campaign will be tied to a specific Nexus. So you can have multiple campaigns across different game systems. And for Pathfinder and Starfinder Nexus, you'll be able to start out having shared roles in the game log that will be able to grow. You'll be able to have your characters for your players. You'll be able to have advanced types of game rolling. We're looking at advanced interactions to do down the road. And then we're also bringing in ways to bring aspects of your campaign together on Demiplane, including unique NPCs like the ones that you just saw here. These NPCs exist within your campaign, and you'll be able to keep everything really, really tight and manage it as a game master or be able to reference things that are important for you as a player. over time, once we get campaigns out, we'll be adding in different types of capabilities here, which are critical to be playing online. Counter builders, number one, be able to bring in multiple types of NPCs into that counter builder, check their threat levels, bring your players in, manage initiative, all of those types of things. And are also looking at capabilities that we call shared sheets, which are different ways for your group to interact with each other, either during the game, if they're all working in one place, like a starship or a kingdom, or if there's something that you want to be able to manage afterwards. So our first wave of these releases, which is going to be the campaign, shared roles and game log, shared character sheets, and also shared NPCs if the game master chooses, they'll be coming out this year. And so that's actively in the works. Things like edit permissions and the NPC sheets that you've seen here are really sort of step -1 and 0 for us as we launch into the campaigns. But we've been able to take everything we've learned from our group's world from the past, and we're really looking forward to bringing it here for all the players for Pathfinder, for Starfinder, and for the games beyond that also exist on Demiplane. And I think that is about all the special things that we haven't announced yet that we're allowed to announce today. I don't know if there's any more. So I just wanted to say thanks once again for everybody who swung by to check us out today. I know that we're like right ahead of the big show, so I hope everybody enjoys that. On our side, we continue to wake up every day and think about cool ways to help you connect your adventures anywhere you are, whether you're playing in person or playing online. For us, the fandom is what's fun, and so bringing this to life is really exciting. And with that, I think we can check and see what the QA says.
Questions. Yeah. Robin1, any word on the Demiplane Pathfinder character sheet or Starfinder character sheet having secret role integration?
You just heard it. That's our start.
Absolutely.
That's the start of our, that's the start of our advanced, part of that, the game log, I guess quietly, I didn't say this out loud, but I guess I have to now. Part of it is that we'll be going back and having to address dice rollers. And so how we think about rolling dice across the platform. And so this is one of those things.
Yeah, absolutely. We know how important that is in Pathfinder. Secret roles are incredibly important, so that'll be great. I don't see the name here, but what is your favorite part of developing content for Demiplane? I'll let you both answer first.
I mean, like I said, Pathfinder is my favorite game. So just getting to see all that cool stuff coming in the pipeline. And unfortunately not being able to say anything about it, but I just love, we joke about the amount of content, but the amount of content is like so cool. Just being able to build, I could play, as I was building out my kineticist, like I could play like 100 different versions of a kineticist. And so just getting to see all of that stuff come through and yeah, that's my favorite part, honestly. I love reading rule books. Like I'm one of those people, when I play board games, I'm the one that reads the rule book and I'm the one that explains it to everyone on the phone. But I love reading rule books. So having all that stuff is just a ton of fun.
Yeah, I think I can pick two things. And I made that rule just now, and therefore I can do that. And so the first thing that I'll say is like the very fun one beforehand. I can like a before fun and after fun. The before fun is I love working on the interactions and how people can interact with it with the technology that Demiplane brings. So I love trying to figure out, like for the commander, how do we handle the commander's folio? Where do we put that in? For the alchemy, how do we do quick alchemy? Dom, I remember like just really going at it. How do we make this work? How does this flow? All of those relationships between technology and a game that we know, like we don't want it to be a video game. We want it to be a tabletop game. And how do we use technology to really make sure that we're walking that line is a lot of fun for me. So I love thinking about like all the different animus choices and all the things that come out and, seeing the playtest stuff and trying to get early tastes on, hey, what if we did it this way, see how people interact with it, and maybe adjust it down the road. The way that people use technology to interact with this hobby is a lot of fun. And so for me, it's a great game system to do this with. And that's what I love about the content. And then we just have a great team that can help enable those interactions across the board. So that's the thing, that I love beforehand. Afterwards, I love seeing all the data. There are hundreds of thousands of Pathfinder characters and even Starfinder characters now, frankly, on Demiplane. And there's going to be even more once we start launching Starfinder 2e with everyone here at the end of July. And so it's so cool to be able to sit down with Paizo once a quarter, once every couple months, and say, okay, let's lean back and let's see how many people are using the Remastered Edition. Let's see how many human fighters we have. Let's talk about people who are breaking the rules and trying to do something different. Let's see whether people are actually using the spear for the exemplar, or maybe they're using other types of weapons. Let's see what types of spells are being selected. I love being able to sit down after playtest or at a business review, at a data review with the Paizo team, and working with everybody to figure out, hey, like, what did you see here? Here's what we saw in these surveys. Here we saw in these surveys. And so it's just been a fantastic opportunity to see that content come out and to be able to use technology to help speed up and make the gameplay process more fun, not just while you're playing, but while folks are building those games. That to me is something that I get really, really passionate about, as you can tell, and really excited about.
What a nerd, JK. I've got two as well. My first is, the actual, behind the scenes work stuff, which is us getting to work on all this content because of the breadth of it. Like Dom was saying, there's so many things that happen. And so I love the challenge. I love a puzzle. And so to me, when we're given all of these new features in a new Pathfinder or Starfinder release, trying to figure out how we use the tools that we have at our disposal, the amazing tools that Dom has made for me and my team, is one of the most fun things, which is why I called out Hal of the Wild earlier as one of my favorite books to work on, because we got a bunch of new tools from Dom, and we had the were creature dedication, which if you look at this on the back end, there's so much happening. And that was me, that I just sat there and was like, okay, if I do this, and that was so fun. And then the other part is in front, and it's with all of you here in the community. I find that the community around these games are so amazing. You're all so dedicated to this game, and I really see that, to me, everybody's tabletop games, we all know how important these are. This is our time with friends. This is social time. This is experimentation, storytelling time. We all have so little free time in our lives, and your games are very important. And the fact that you choose to share your games with us is super important. So I love everybody in the community around the game and around us in the game who hang out with us on Demiplane, where we get to actually hear about how you're using these tools, how you're playing this game, what experiences you're having. And to me, that is part of the magic. And being able to work with a company like Paizo that has such an incredible community around the game is really, really fantastic. And so that's my other item there.
Awesome.
We also have a question from Seraph32, which is for me, which is, can you pre-order the Starfinder 2nd Edition Player Core on Demiplane? Not quite yet, but if you keep an eye out in the next, I'm gonna give me a week. Give me a week. This will be for you. When you see it, yes, you'll know Melly made sure this happened for me specifically.
Yes.
So yeah, I will make it happen within a week for you, just for you. And we also have a question about, what is each of your favorite classes, Pathfinder or Starfinder build? I've already answered this, so I passed.
Yeah, you did. Yep.
That's a really hard question for me.
You really like your kineticist right now.
I do. I mean, the kineticist is just a bunch of fun. I have a paralyzing fear about spellcasters and not wanting to use spell slots, and so the kineticist lets me not have to use spell slots. My answer is always whichever class I'm playing right now, but I really want to play. I haven't had a chance to play the Necromancer yet. I want to play the Necromancer, and I really want to play the Mechanic as well, which was a new playtest class for Starfinder. So those are, both those are playtest classes right now, but yeah, those are my want to play. Kineticist right now is I'm really genuinely having a blast to play the Kineticist.
Yeah. I will say, when I started out, when I started playing, the class I stayed away from the most that I now love dearly is actually the Cleric. And I stayed away for this fear of I'm always going to have to be healing people. And what ended up happening is that's exactly what ended up happening. I did always have to end up healing people, but it was super fun. I love the concept of the healing fonts. Medicine checks are super, battle medicine is just a really cool concept that you don't have to always be using magic to heal. And so I actually had a blast. That was my biggest surprise. But my most fun, I've never played an Oracle, but I have built a ridiculously crazy amount of Oracles, because I'm always afraid that I'm just going to put this poor glass cannon out into the world and just immediately end them. Because all my campaigns start at level 1. So it's I'm guaranteed to lose, But yes, so it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to build those characters and think about, okay, how would I overcome each of these unique curses? And so I also have 280 something characters. So there's probably 20 or 30 oracles, different types of equipment set up and everything, just in case I get invited and I get to, throw one away.
So I think that's saying, hey, don't, if you ever want an Oracle in your game, invite Peter because he's got a lot of them
Yes,
ready to
yeah.
go.
Yeah, if you want an Oracle that's not going to make it past the first game, invite Peter. Yeah, he's got a ton of
Just
them.
have a one session guest role. Peter
Yeah.
comes in, dies, says, thanks, everybody. Bye.
It's like the Matrix, yeah, where it's like this Neo made it. All the other Neos, they didn't make it, you know?
No. We also have a question about Bluetooth dice integration. I just want to preface this a little bit. We've talked about, of course, Roll20 integration, which is we just put out. Gosh, has it been about a month? 2 months?
April.
Yeah, April. So it's been about a
yeah.
month, and we're constantly putting out updates for that. So that's huge. Bluetooth dice integrations or any other integrations that we might be able to talk about.
Let's see. Nothing yet on the Bluetooth dice side. They it's probably a little early for Bluetooth dice to be locked in here. The dice integration, like I said before, we have to go through and figure out how we're going to do dice. We probably won't start building it to Bluetooth dice integration, but we are keeping an eye on it. You know, I think that I remember when the Pixel dice came out, and was super awesome. And so those types of things are things that we're aware of. And I also am, I'm a physical dice roller. Like I like rolling dice at the table. And so, you know, especially when I'm playing online, including when I'm playing online. So that's, you know, that's an important one for me. But I think at the start we will, we probably won't target Bluetooth dice, but it's not because we're excluding them. We just are going to get the core in first.
Yeah, absolutely. And we have another question from Coop Waffles asking about Foundry VTT integration. And just in general, I think people are always asking, okay, we can play this game around a table using our devices in Demiplane. We can play it on Roll20. Do we see a future where people are bringing Demiplane with them into even more places?
Yeah, what I can say on that one for this group here is that we have we really accomplished something big last month in April, and that was we connected characters to some place that wasn't Demiplane, and that was something for us that we felt was really important. It's something that's exciting for us. Like we're excited about it, and so we are definitely carrying that excitement forward, especially as we move into groups and we start thinking about ways to like what's important to a group that's either playing at an established virtual location or an established physical location, like at a game store or in your friend's house, wherever it is. And so those things are starting to stack up, and the momentum's moving in the right direction. So we're excited to see where the world takes us here. But yeah, crossing into new platforms is something that we hadn't done before. And now that we've done it, we're really excited about what to go next.
Heck yeah. This is going to be a question for Dom Krobe. I know that name. When we had the NPC sheet stuff coming up on screen, we were talking about the customizability of those NPCs. We got a question about, does that mean I'll be able to give my leg chair animal companion the ability of flight?
I mean, yeah, you'll be able to give them any ability you want. An animal
Aura of corruption.
The sweetest leg chair in the world.
It was made of the trees that Tree Razor down.
Yes, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's amazing. All right. We're having fun. I hope everybody else is. Let's see. Are there plans to make Demiplane integrations for Pathfinder Infinite content? Right now, we are not, but the Pathfinder Infinite space is a fantastic place to start looking for that community content. And we have actually, not on Pathfinder Nexus, but on Demiplane broadly, we just released our first community content piece for another game system. And so we're watching that very intently. So when we do Pathfinder Infinite, it's got a great backing of just awesome content. Pathfinder's got an awesome communities built worth of content. And so for us, we want to make sure when we bring it in, we're ready to roll and we've got it locked in. We know what we're doing. And so not right now, but it would be, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of great stuff there. Pathfinder and Starfinder Infinite have awesome things. And Starfinder Infinite, I can't wait to see what people come out with now with 2E. So yeah, so not yet, but we're actively keeping an eye on it.
And this wasn't asked in chat, but I'd love to pose this question to all of us. Is there anything in particular that we're the most excited for with Starfinder officially launching at Gen Con this year, since we've been doing the playtest and then the preview content since last Gen Con?
Oh, good question. Dem, I'll let you go first. Also, you have to pick your favorite book.
I can pick my favorite book.
Yeah, I forgot to ask you.
I did dodge that question earlier. I thought about the fact that you forgot to ask me. That's a really tough question. I think I'll go with guns and gears just because I like guns and or gears. I just think it's a really fun aesthetic. Like I love that section of Valarian, and I think it's just a fun, like, it's just fun and unique and it helps Pathfinder stand out from all the other games. I've only played an Inventor like 2 times, I think, unfortunately, but I'll choose that one as my favorite. It is really hard to choose one. Something I'm excited about for Starfinder launch, or just generally kind of this Gen Con time, I think there's a lot of really cool stuff I want to do with the Starfinder character sheet, which I mean really means the Pathfinder character sheet, since they're all the same.
Yeah.
And so there are updates that our team is looking at making around how we present attacks and how you can interact with like ammo, for instance. So we want to do some more robust ammo tracking in there, because obviously that's very, very important to Starfinder specifically, but it can carry back to Pathfinder, as well as giving more options for our amazing content team to add toggles and effects and things that we can do with anything, with spells, with weapons, with actions. So those are kind of a few things that we're looking at, and so that's what I'm most excited about. They're things that I've wanted to do for a long time, and we're really, with this launch, we're kind of using that as an opportunity to take a look at those things.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think for me, the Starfinder stuff, I just love, the team has done such a good job of making Starfinder this super fun, like wild, just future world. And it sounds kind of cheesy, but my actual favorite thing about Starfinder is going to be the next book that comes out. Because when the first book has 360 no scope as a feat, like where do you go from there? You know, it's not the first,
also,
I guess,
Doom
the
Scroll,
core rule book. Yeah, Doom
spell.
Scroll. Yes, yeah, absolutely. So like, I actually can't wait to see where they're going with it, and I'm excited to be at Gen Con this year when the team gets a chance to show it to the world and announce it, because yeah, that team's working so hard. We've been working with them pretty closely as the playtest has been going through and as they've been making releases, and they're great people. It's sometimes easy to forget that when you're reading these pages, that there's a group of people behind them that are just furiously trying to figure out the balance and the weight rate to frame it up and the layout and all that stuff. And that team's working so hard, and they're all awesome. And so I can't wait to be there with them when they get to see the rest of the world see it too. So so we've got some early looks so far, and it's been like everyone's gonna love it. So we're really excited.
I co-sign both of those things, especially what Dom is saying for a lot of the new functionality that's going to be in my team's hands, to be able to add more things for you to be able to do and track and control in your sheets. But I'm also going to put in a fresh answer, because one of the fun things, with a play test is that you get some stuff in there, you get to use it, you get to play with it. But we all, of course, the builder, which looks gorgeous. I love it because it takes that Starfinder aesthetic. But our sheet is currently still kind of in a play test format, and I'm really excited for us to get the sheet leveled up, because the Starfinder visual aesthetic is wild. I just have to always tip my hat to the art director, to all of the artists who work on those books, because I am blown away. All the books that I've been able to look at so far, I'm blown away, and I'm so excited for us to get to pull a lot of those design ideas into the sheet itself, so that you really do feel transported into the galaxy when you're playing.
Well, I'll pick our last one before we have to wrap up, which is, what's the most challenging part of converting Pathfinder or Starfinder to Demiplane? We got like 2 minutes.
Well, mine is the same thing as what one of my favorite things is, which is the puzzle. Because there's so many things that come in that add new ways for you to interact with the game rules. And so our challenge is to figure out how to do that in a way where we're automating it, but not so much that we are in your way. We never want to do something where it's so automated that you don't get to play. We want to make sure that you're still playing, and so towing that line is always a challenge. And so there's all these new things that come in, and we have to figure out where that line is for the new thing that has just come in.
What do you think, Dom?
Yeah, I think it's the same. I mean, there's if we're looking at our core source books, every book releases something new. Like every class does something different. It's not ever just a reskin of something else, and that's very, very exciting as a player. And it like Melly says, it's a big puzzle for us to solve. And we have a lot of tools that we've been developing that help us, iterate on that more and more quickly. But it's just so interesting to see all of the new ways that these characters can interact with the world. So that's the most fun and the most challenging. Genuinely.
I think it's an awesome question to land on for the end. And I think for me, it's about balancing the joy of the game, which is its options, with the reality that they can be overwhelming. And you want to show every option, but also you can't. And so, finding that balance between there and knowing that taste is such a personal thing and it will be different for every person. Finding ways to make that happen is one of those things that I think is really challenging, but it's one of my favorite parts, and it's the most rewarding when people discover something that they didn't even know existed in a game they've been playing for a long time. So great. Well, we're going to step aside because there's an awesome presentation coming up next. I can't wait for it. I know that everyone here is really excited for it. And the last thing you want to do is see us. But if you do happen to maybe be like the second to last thing you want to do is see more of us, you can hang out with us at Discord. Discord.gg/Demiplane is where we hang out all the time. We have weekly updates. We're regularly talking about what's coming next. We get special previews like we did today. And if you don't want to see us anymore, but you just want to do all the cool stuff that we work on, please support us here, PathfinderNexus.com or StarfinderNexus.com, and know that you can feel free to welcome and be welcome to explore all the awesome stuff at Drive-Thru RPG, Pathfinder Infinite, Starfinder Infinite, and Roll20. So with that, thanks everybody from the team at Demiplane. Thank you so much. Have an awesome PaizoCon, and if you're in the U.S., great Memorial Day weekend, and we'll see you at the table. Thanks, everybody.
Everybody.